W cube 1 is nothing but these are the weights propagated to the last step. Here also same thing, W2 3. So here whenever you want to find the weight, so here whenever you want to find this function, the derivative of this thing, here we need to follow the chain rule. So here on this we need to apply chain rule. How to apply this chain rule? So whenever you want to apply chain rule on this thing, so here what happens, how to write this thing? To write that thing here, initially what we need to take? So here we need to say dl by dw. So here I want to find the new, so here I want to find the derivative of this thing with respect to the cost function. So here how to say this thing, how to predict this thing? So finally we are getting output. So here I'm saying this one as a output 3 1. So here to find the cost function for this thing, what we need to say? So here to find the cost function to this thing, here I want to follow the chain rule. So how to follow the chain rule here? Initially we need to say derivative of cost function. So after saying derivative of cost function, at the final output layer, what we have? So here we need to find derivative with respect to this layer. I want to find derivative with respect to this point. So to find derivative with this point, here what we need to say? So with this layer only, I want to find updated weight. So for that purpose, what I am saying? So here derivative of loss with respect to this output. So before this thing, we have output. So that's why here I'm saying derivative of output. So here I'm saying derivative of O. Into here I'm saying derivative of O by derivative of W2 or derivative of W3. So here W cube is nothing but with this I am finding this thing for this layer. So here I am finding updated weight for this neuron. So here it is about finding the derivative by using chain rule. Whereas if you consider this layer, what happens? So if you consider this layer, what happens? One more step will be increased. One more step will be increased. So here it is about chain rule. So by using chain rule, we can update or we can find the updated weights. So here it is. I'm considering I'm finding the updated weight for this neuron. Whereas if you want to find the updated weight for this neuron, this process will be different. So if you want to find that thing for, so if you want to find the optimum W1 square. So if you want to find this thing, so how to proceed for this thing? So here we can, one way is this thing, we need to find the derivative of this thing. After that, we can move to this output in this fashion also. Whereas after finding the chain rule derivative for this thing, we need to add it up this thing. So here, these are the two ways to perform this thing. So here, if you want to, so I will forward you that one image in your group, so that go through that thing, so that you can understand this thing. So here, after this, we have stochastic gradient descent approach. So here, in the stochastic gradient descent, what happens? So here, let us assume, so it is our weight, that is here it is x-axis. In this x-axis, we have updated weights. That is nothing but here we have WIXI. Initially, we will have this thing on this x-axis. In the x-axis, we will have updated weights, WIXI. On the y-axis, we will have loss function. So here we will have loss function. So whenever, so let us assume, so here it is your curve. So here we are having optimum value of the cost function here. So here by using any approach, we need to move to this point. So by updating weights, we need to move at this specific location. How to move this thing? So every time, so here cost function, derivative to the cost function is nothing but we are finding the tangent for each and every time. So for each and every weight, we are finding the tangent only. So let us assume if you are touching to this line in this fashion, that means your slope will be negative. So if you are moving downward means your slope is negative. So whenever you got negative slope, we need to move towards right side. So whenever you got negative slope, you need to move into right side direction. Whereas let us assume if you draw a tangent here. So here in this case, what happens? Here we got positive slope. So here whenever you plot the tangent to this line, increasing line, it will return positive slope. Whenever you got the positive slope, that means you need to move towards left direction. So whenever you got the negative slope, we need to move towards right side. Whenever we got the positive slope, we need to move towards left side. That means if you got this positive slope, we need to move towards this direction by updating different weights. In this fashion, we need to move. So like that, if you got a negative slope, we need to move towards right side. Like that, we in this way we need to move. So finally, we need to repeat this step until reaching to the optimum cost. That is nothing but derivative is 0. At this location, we got the minimum cost function. So here it is our final destination. It is about basic gradient descent approach to reduce the cost function. So after this, so what happens if you use sigmoid function here? What happens if you use sigmoid activation function here? So let us assume, so here I want to use sigmoid activation function. So here, let us assume here I am using sigmoid activation function for the hidden layers. Let us assume here also I want to find sigmoid activation. I want to use sigmoid activation function to activate this neuron. So whenever you use the sigmoid activation function, so if you perform derivative to the sigmoid activation function. So let us wait a minute. I will rub this thing. So let us assume, so here I am taking sigmoid activation function. So here, let us assume it is a curve for sigmoid function. So let us assume it is our curve for sigmoid function. So whenever you perform derivative on, see here, to update the weight, we are performing derivative on each and every neuron. We are performing derivative on each and every neuron. So whenever you perform derivative on this neuron, what happens? So here, remember this thing, whenever we perform derivative on the sigmoid function, here it will reduce the magnitude of that function to the 0.25%. So so whenever you perform derivative on sigmoid function, here you will get the amplitude value or magnitude value of this thing will be reduced to 0.25%. Initially we have magnitude of 1 to this thing. So here, whenever you use this thing, what happens? So here it is, this magnitude will be reduced to 25% of the overall value of sigmoid function. Same problem we will face for tan h function also. So here, whenever you use the sigmoid function as an activation function into the hidden layers. So if you use this thing, what happens means here, so here weight upgradation formula will be this thing. So here we need to upgrade the weight. So here neta is a very small value. So this learning weight rate is a very small value. It lies between 0 to 1. Whereas in the 0 to 1 range, we need to consider very small value as a this learning rate. So whenever, so if perform derivative, so here we are reducing the value of this W. That means it will becomes very small value. So here for each and every iteration, this cost function, this derivative will becomes very small, and we are multiplying small number with the learning rate. Let us assume in my example, I have very small learning rate, like I have learning rate as 0.01%. Let us assume I have learning rate as some 0.01. And for next iteration, if I perform this derivation part, so if I multiply that thing, finally, if let us assume if I got value as some 0.02. So here, if you perform the derivative, so finally, if you got slope like some 0.02. So here, it is a very small value. That means this entire thing is a very small value to upgrade the weight. So if you apply the sigmoid function, we are reducing this value to very small value, and we are multiplying that value with this neta, that is nothing but learning parameter. Whenever you multiply with this entire portion, this portion will becomes very small value. So here it will become very small value. So finally, what is our requirement? So if we use gradient descent, we need to move to this position. We need to move to this position. So here, let assume, so here initially our weight is present here. So let assume here, if you assume it is our old weight, we need to move to this location. To move this location, what we need to do? Every time we need to update the weight. Every time we need to update the weight. So whereas if you use sigmoid activation function, we are upgrading the weights for very small values. Every time we are removing very small values to this thing. What happens on such cases? So here, to move to this location, it will take lot of epochs. So here, to move to this location, if it is a very small value, to move to this location, to reduce this cost function, it will take more and more number of iteration. So here, this is called as vanishing gradient descent problem. So here it is called as vanishing gradient problem. So to remove this problem, we need not to use the sigmoid function as well as tan h function, tan hyperbolic function in place of the hidden layers. If we use this sigmoid function in case of hidden layer, we will face the vanishing gradient problem. To avoid this vanishing gradient problem, here in place of this thing, we need to use rectifier linear unit function. To avoid this vanishing gradient problem, we need to use rectifier linear unit problem. So here in the gradient descent problem, sorry, in the vanishing gradient problem, we will face this problem. So that is new weight will be, so whenever you update the weight also, it is a it will become a negligible value, or it becomes a very small value. So whenever you update the weight, it will becomes like w new equals to w1 only. So here new updated weight, it is equivalent to old weight. So on such cases, our value won't move to this position. To move to this position, it will take lot and lot of iterations to avoid. So this problem is called as vanishing gradient descent problem. So here, to solve this problem, here in place of this sigmoid function, better to use ReLU activation function. In place of this thing, if you use ReLU activation function, we can overcome this problem. So what happens if you use rectifier linear unit function in place of this place? So I will explain you that thing. Wait a minute. So here I want to use. So here I want to use rectifier linear unit function. So here I'm taking rectifier linear unit function. Let us assume. So here it is a graph for rectifier linear unit function. So if you observe the graph, so here I will draw the rectifier linear unit function as well as derivative to this rectifier linear unit function. Let us assume. So here it is a rectifier linear unit function. So after reaching to the zero, it will return triangular curve. So before this thing, it will return this thing as an output. So if you perform derivative to this thing, if you use this thing as this thing, whenever you are updating the weights, what happens? We need to take the derivative of this old weight. So whenever you perform derivative on this activation function, what happens? So here derivative of constant will be zero. So derivative of this constant will be, it will be zero only. So I will change the color. So here, if you perform derivative of the constant, it will become zero. After that, if you perform derivative for the unit function, it will return step function as an output. So whenever we perform derivative to this thing, it will return step function as an output. So here we are not having this problem. So here we are not reducing the magnitude of this thing. So here let us assume the magnitude of this thing will be 1 and the magnitude of this thing will be 0. Whereas here we are facing one more problem, that is called as we are creating dead neuron. So here whenever the derivative becomes 0, so here it will create a dead neuron. Dead neuron is nothing but inactivated neuron. So to avoid this problem, here we are modifying this ReLU activation function with a little bit modification, that is said as leaky ReLU activation function. Leaky ReLU activation function means we are bending this line to little bit downwards. So here I'm bending this line to little bit downwards. So here it is called as leaky ReLU activation function. So here it is the reason. So by using this activation function, we can easily update the weight and we can easily move to our destination. We can easily move to our destination. That is nothing but optimum cost function. So here, whenever you want to use activation function for the hidden layers, better to go with rectifier linear unit function. So another problem we will cause in the deep learning algorithms is, first one is the vanishing gradient problem. If you use the sigmoid function, we will face the problem with vanishing gradient. So some cases we will get exploding gradient problem also. Some cases we will get exploding gradient problem also. The exploding gradient problem is nothing but, so whenever you update this weights, so here if it returns negative value, so here if it returns negative value, what happens? So here you are taking small learning rate and you are adding, so you are multiplying that learning rate with the this slope value. So if it is become a negative value, so if your updated weight is an, so if your cost function, so if your derivative of this thing, if you got as a negative value, what happens? So here it is not diverging, this value will be increases. On such cases, what happens? So if your weights is become more and more larger, on such cases you will diverge from the, so on such cases you won't move in this direction. On such cases you might move in this direction. That is called as exploding gradient problem. So here, to remove the exploding gradient problem, so what are the things we need to follow? So here, take this thing as an assignment. So here how to solve the exploding gradient problem in the deep learning. So take that thing as an assignment problem. So here in the deep learning, we will face one more problem is overfitting problem. So here in the multiple neural networks, we won't get underfitting problem. Why? Because we are connecting each and every neuron with all the connections. Whenever you are establishing each and every neuron with all the connections, it will goes for overfitting problem. To avoid this overfitting problem, we need to consider dropout ratio. So here dropout is nothing but to consider to get some output, we need to remove some layers in the hidden layer. To remove some layers from the hidden layer, we need to consider dropout. Dropout is nothing but removing some certain neurons from the any neural network is called as dropout. So here dropout ratio should be present in the range of 0 to, basically it is present in the range of 0 to 1 only. So here based on the probability values only, we can perform this dropout operation. So here it is about dropout. So here it is about the basics. After this thing, we will discuss one more thing, that is how to upgrade the weights. How our algorithm will upgrade the weights. So we will discuss that thing. So how to update the weights, we will discuss that thing. So here, let us assume in the neural networks what we have. So here, initially we have neurons. For that neurons, we have some inputs. So here we have some inputs to each and every neuron. So whatever the things coming from this side, these are called as inputs. And for this neuron, we might have outputs. So here we might have outputs. So here in the standard way, these inputs are said as fan in. So here most of the guys, so most of the research papers, you will find this thing as a fin. Fin is nothing but fan in. That is nothing but number of inputs to the hidden layer. And this output will be said as fan out. So here this output will be said as fan out. In the most of the research papers, you will find this thing. So here inputs will be said as fan in and output will be said as fan out. So here we need to find optimum weights. So here every time we need to find optimum weights. To find the optimum weights, what we need to do? We need to consider few assumptions. Those assumptions are, first assumption is weight should be small. So whatever the weights you are updating for the next time, those should be very small. Weight should be small. To update the weights, this should be small. So after this constraint, we need to consider one more parameter, that is, so here weight should not be same. Updated weight should not be same with the previous weight. So here weight should not be same. So here it is the second thing you need to follow while updating the weights. So here we should have good variance. So we will have good variance between different weights. So here we will have difference between the previous weight and new weight. That is nothing but, so we need to consider these two constraints while upgrading the weights. So here to update the weights, we have different initialization methods. So to upgrade the weights, we have different initialization methods. So out of those, first one is the uniform distribution method. To upgrade the weights randomly, we have initial distribution is uniform distribution. So if you want to update this weights by using uniform distribution, this updated weight should be present in the range of, so here updated weight should be, if you follow the uniform distribution to update the weights. So here I'm taking A as a lower limit and I'm taking B as an upper limit. So whenever you want to upgrade the weights, so here it is a formula for lower limit, that is -1 to, so here it is in the range of -1 by under root of fan in. So here it is nothing but under root of fan in. So here if you calculate this formula, what happens? Under root of fan in is nothing but, here in this case, so here under root of fan is nothing but number of inputs. So here based on the number of inputs we are saying, in this example we have 3 inputs. So here if you take the weights randomly, we need to take that value in the range of -1 by under root of 3 to +1 by under root of 3. So if you follow the uniform distribution to update the weights, here it is the formula. So if you follow the uniform distribution to assign the weights randomly, here it is the formula. So here A is an upper bond and B is an, A is a lower bond and B is an upper bond. So here based on these values, it will assign the weights to these inputs randomly. To assign the weights, if you follow the uniform distribution, it is a weight upgradation formula. So after this, So in this range only, it will take the weights randomly. For each and every epoch, it will take the weight randomly in this range only. So after this, we have one more distribution that is said as Xavier distribution, Xavier or Goret distribution. So here for the weight initialization, we have one more method called as Xavier or Goret distribution. Xavier or Goret distribution. So if you follow this distribution, here formula will be different. So here in this thing also we have two kinds of things. So one is Xavier Goret. So here I will explain you that thing in this thing only. So here in this we have Xavier Goret. We can say this thing as a Xavier distribution or Goret distribution. So here we have Goret normal distribution as well as Goret uniform distribution also. So here we have Goret uniform distribution as well as Goret uniform distribution also. These are the two different weight upgradation upgrades. Sorry, weight upgradation. Know what is this weight upgradation updates? Sorry, weight upgradation where we are doing where we are using this step. So here formula for this thing will be, yeah, I will write down the formula here. So here, if you want to write the formula for Gaussian normal distribution, so here formula will be under root of, so here, so for the normal distribution, formula will be under root of 2 by, so here, fan in plus fan out. So here it is the formula. So for this, formula will be fan in plus fan out. So here it is the formula for Goret normal distribution. So it will consider values in the range of 0 to this. So here starting value will be 0, lower limit will be 0. To update the weights, it will consider lower limit as 0 and upper limit as this value. So here it will consider the weights in the range of 0 to 2 by fan in plus fan out. So in this example, how many inputs we have? We have 3 inputs and we have 1 output. 3 plus 1, which is nothing but 4. So here it will take values in the range of 2 by 4, which is nothing but 0.5. So here it will consider numbers in the range of under root of 0.5. 0 to under root of 0.5. It will assign the weights randomly for each and every input as well as hidden layers also. So after that we have Goret uniform distribution. So if you follow the Goret uniform distribution, formula will be different. So here the upper and lower limits will be lies in the range of -5 to +5. Upper and lower limits will be lies in the range of -5 to +5. Here we need to take under root of 6. So here it is the standard formula, under root of 6 by. Here also we need to take fan in as well as fan out in the output. Here at the denominator we need to take fan in plus fan out. So here fan in plus fan out. So these are the different weight initialization methods or measures. So here you need not to remember any of these formulas. Whereas if you get any doubts, so here why these weights we need to upgrade this weight. So how this how these weights are upgraded randomly, from where these updated weights will be taken. So for that purpose, it is the answer. We can take these values while initializing the uniform distribution. These values will be selected in this specific range. Whereas if you choose Goret normal distribution, it will select the values in this range. Whereas if you apply Goret uniform distribution, it will update the weights in the range of minus under root 6. So minimum and maximum values, minus to plus. It will lies in this range. So whenever it will update the weights, it will update the weights in this specified range. So after this, we have He initialization method also. To update the weights, third one is the He normalization method. So here, He weight upgradation method also there. In this also we have He uniform as well as He normal. So here also we have He uniform as well as He normal. So here I'm saying He. So He uniform and here I'm saying He normal. So here whenever you use He uniform distribution, so whenever you use He uniform distribution, the formula will be different. So for this formula will be, so it is also lies between this only. So here it is only the, so whereas here same formula, but we need not to consider output. So here formula will be, so if you consider He normal distribution, so always a normal distribution starts with 0 only. So here always uniform distribution normal distribution always starts with 0 only. So it will be lies in the range of 0 to under root of 2 by fan in. So here, if you want to update the weights, here it is the formula for He normalization method. So here 2 by under root of fan in. So after this, if you follow the He normalization method, so here whenever you use the normalization method, so upper and lower limits will be same. So whereas lower limit will be negative value and upper limit will be positive value. So whenever you apply this thing, what is the value? So here 6 by under root fan in. 6 by fan in. So here these are the different weight upgradation methods. So here these are the different weight upgradation method. So based on your requirement, based on your problem, you can use any one of these weight upgradation methods. So these are about weight upgradation methods. So whereas we have few more things, that is about, so here to reduce, in the deep learning, every time we need to reduce the cost function. Every time we need to reduce the cost function. Whereas if you use the gradient descent method to reduce the cost function, there we will get one difficulty. That is, so if you have huge amount of data set, in your data set you might have 1 million observations, whereas if you might have more than 1 million observations. To process all those observations at a time, it will take more time. To avoid that problem, so here we are taking one by one neurons at a time. That is nothing but stochastic gradient descent method. So whenever you use the stochastic gradient descent method, we need to consider each and every neuron individually. Again, that is also a big problem only. So here, to avoid that problem, here we are using stochastic gradient descent method by taking few observations at a time. So here we are observing stochastic gradient method by taking few batch of observations at a time. That is said as mini batch stochastic gradient descent. That will be said as mini batch stochastic gradient descent. I will explain you that thing now. So here, let assume, so here it is our global minima, and so each and every time we are updating different weights. So let assume these are our different circles. So let assume, so here these are our different circles. So here, so initially we are here. So initially we are at the bottom side. So here, whereas it is our global maximum point, now we are here. Whereas here we have optimum cost function. Here we have optimum cost function. Whenever you use the gradient descent method, so here directly you will move to this step to this step. After this, directly you will move to this step. If you use the gradient descent method to reduce the cost function, you can move in this direction. So directly it will converges to the global minima. To reach to this global minima, if you use the gradient descent method, so here every time we are taking some batch of values. Every time for each and every iteration, we are taking few batch of values. That means for the first iteration, it will move like this. So here it will move here. So after this, it will move like this. After this, it will move like this. So after this, from this, it will move to our global minima point. So here to reach to global minima, so here also by using, so it is by using mini batch gradient descent. So it is said as mini batch gradient descent. Every time we are taking few inputs at a time, few features at a time. Based on that, we are moving to global minima. So if we consider this mini batch gradient descent, we are moving very slowly to the, we are slowly converging to the our global minima point. So here it is slow convergence is the only problem with the mini batch gradient descent. Whereas if you consider gradient descent approach, so if you process huge amount of data, so it will take more amount of time to process all those data points. To avoid that problem, here we are using mini batch gradient descent problem. We are using mini batch gradient descent approach to move to our ending point. So here in this case, our global minima will be same for both the cases, so that we will get same output, but it will take some more time compared to the gradient descent. So after that, we have adaptive gradient descent optimizer. So here we have adaptive gradient descent optimization technique. The purpose of this thing is, so here whenever you want to update the new weights, so what is the formula for weight upgradation? So new weight equals to W volt. So old weight minus After this, what we need to say? Neta, that is nothing but learning rate by DL, that is nothing but cost function, derivative of cost function with respect to old weight. So here it is our formula to find the updated weight. So to find this updated weight, so for each and in the gradient descent, in the stochastic gradient, as well as in mini batch gradient descent, we are taking what we are taking. So to upgrade the date, this thing, every time we are taking same learning rate. For each and every sample, we are taking constant learning rate, that is same learning rate. So to avoid this problem, to optimize, to move towards the minimum global minimum point, that is nothing but to minimize this cost function in faster manner, we need to move to this adaptive gradient descent approach. So here the main motto of this adaptive gradient descent approach is, what happens if you consider different learning rates to different parameters. So here to update these weights, what happens if you consider different learning rates to different neurons. So here that is the main motto of this thing. So here I will forward you the videos corresponding to, yeah, this is about the adaptive gradient descent optimizer. So here it is a very good optimizer. It is a very efficient optimizer also. Whenever you want to reduce the cost function in the faster manner and efficient manner, better to use this adaptive gradient descent optimizer. Whenever you want to use adaptive gradient descent optimizer, here we need to use shortcut called ADAM. ADAM is a shortcut which is used to denote this adaptive gradient descent optimizer. So here for the stochastic gradient as well as this gradient descent approaches, I will forward you the intuition videos. Go through those videos once if you have time. So in the tomorrow's class, I will explain you the practical session. Tomorrow means I will take class on Monday. So on that Monday's class, I will explain you the project corresponding to this neural networks. At that time, you will understand each and everything. Don't worry by looking at the concept. So thank you. With this, I am concluding for today.